Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon. I don't care where you're at in the country or in the world. We are. It's really difficult to say we're celebrating Memorial Day because you cannot celebrate Memorial Day. You say, I'm sorry for your loss. You say, I understand what you went through, but Memorial Day is about remembering those who have fallen. However, since it is a federal holiday and it is a national holiday, I am going to start off with the Star Spangled Banner. Here we go. Oh, say, can you see? By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Okay, you can all unmute yourselves now. Sorry, I may not be the best singer in the world, but you got to do patriotic songs on days like this.
Oh, bro, it's not about how well you sing. It's about the spirit behind the song.
Thank you, the Geek Inside. I need to actually go back up here. Okay, so that's you, D. And I'll introduce you here in a minute. The Geek Inside. Commodore Ty, thank you very much for being here. Captain Trek, thank you for being here. Who else we got? Yvette Duvall. Oh, my goodness. You are my girlfriend. You know that, right? Well, whether you like it or not, you're my girlfriend. And Lizzie is here as well. Thank you for being here, Lizzie. And Commodore Ty, I promise not to sing too terribly much on this. Now, I'm going to introduce the panel. Here we go. We've got D'Angelo Bergen. Staff Sergeant D'Angelo Bergen. How long have you been in the Army, man?
Since 2001.
That is a while. That is 20 years, everybody. How many deployments have you been on?
I've had 4 of them, 3 to Afghanistan, 1 to Iraq.
Oh, 5 deployments total?
4, just 4.
Just 4. Okay. Yeah, I've only got 4 myself. And we are introducing Corporal Moody, although he still calls himself the Professor. Not Professor Brainy Specs, everybody. Not Professor Brainy Specs, but the Professor, Corporal Moody. Yeah. How you doing today, brother?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah. Have you noticed I'm hanging in there too? I think D'Angelo is the only one who's actually drinking water. You're muted, D.
I'm just saying, I'm just trying to wake up yet. My brain isn't just not quite ready for the world yet.
And we got Ronnie Medic, specialist Ronnie. What's happening? Ronan, not Ronnie. Ronan. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't talk very much, but I will throw in when I feel the urge, and yeah, I've got a screen name, a handle, because I'm still employed by the State Department. So.
Understood. Yeah, no worries. I get that. I totally do. So you don't have to use your real name on here. That's fine. As a matter of fact, welcome Positive Candor to the panel.
Oh, wow.
And you don't have to use your real name on here either. I totally understand why you just want to be Positive Candor.
Yeah. But yeah, Corpsman in the Navy.
Yeah, Lizzie, that's it is in fact a soft drink. Compared to what I usually drink, it is a soft drink. Yes. Sorry about that. Positive Candor. You were saying what your rank and job, right? Because in the Navy they do rank and job in the same.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I guess when you're a corpsman, you get special. You're considered pretty special. Because you can go anywhere. Don't have any restrictions as far as both of the ships I was on. Get to go everywhere on the ship because obviously anybody could get hurt anywhere on the ship. So
naturally. So you had one of those fancy ID cards.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
I had to carry one of those when I was doing warfighter exercises. D, you know what a warfighter is, right?
Somewhat.
Okay, so just for clarification, a warfighter exercise is when you get an entire division together, or maybe an entire corps, right? In this case, it was 3 corps, and General Laporte was directing the overall warfighter. You guys have never even heard of General Laporte. He was a fantastic guy. Anyway, whatever the case may be, each one of us has a specific duty when we do warfighting exercises. And my warfighting duty was radio telephone operator for the forward battle captain. And so I knew what kind of losses we were going to take in a major engagement. Now, that warfighter specifically was for Korea. However, any warfighter at any time is going to have the same, well, give or take, 20% casualties. So when we went into Iraq, I knew what was coming. I knew what was coming, and I'm actually shocked that in the 10 years we were in Iraq, we only lost 5,000 troops. Just absolutely shocked. It's amazing that we didn't know that. Going into it, mind you. But again, it was Iraq, not Korea. Don't get into a land war in Asia, right?
Not at all.
Welcome, Jedi Bill. Hello, brother. Hello. Elihu, thank you for joining us. LDG of Geeks and Joy, fill in the blank. Pflugerville, thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Veterans are allowed onto the panel, but only veterans. So we will be here for another 50 minutes, because I'm pretty sure I can only go an hour. Although if we go longer, we end up going longer. So tell us your story, D. You're the first one up on the panel. Tell us your story, D. You're muted.
Right. Just as a brief introduction of myself, I joined the military in 2001. Day one of my basic training was actually September 11th, 2001. So one of my first sergeants, the drill sergeants, was giving us our in brief as new recruits, or however you want to call it. He comes in and, pardon the expression, he says, the real shit just hit the fan.
Yeah.
Two aircraft have hit the World Trade Center, and a good majority of us thought it was a bunch of garbage, but for that week, the intensity and mood of our drill sergeants were changed. I remember two of my drill sergeants at that time, Drill Sergeant Waters and Brown, both. One was a long tabber, Special Forces, the other one short tab Ranger, and they weren't happy about being on the trail. They wanted to be in the fight.
Oh, yeah. Well, I understand that. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So from there...
and for those of you in the chat who don't know, being on the trail means you're a drill sergeant. Right? So drill instructor, Arlie Ermy, right? That's what you picture. And two of these drill instructors, drill sergeants, wanted to be out in the fight instead of on the trail, as they say. You're muted again, D.
Christ. Well, shortly after, I'll figure this out. Shortly after I graduated my military occupational specialty school up in Fort Lee, Virginia, I was stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which is part of the 18th Airborne Corps. I have a 96-hour recall to be anywhere in the world. Fortunately, it wasn't 96 hours for me. I waited it was around May of 2002 where I was deployed for my first time in Afghanistan, returned whole, deployed again in 2003 in January, back to Afghanistan. First was in Bagram, then Kandahar, came back, was stationed in Baumholder, Germany, where I got to spend 6 months in lovely Kuwait and 6 months in Iraq. That's where I feel like the reality of war kind of set in, especially as being a FOB that I did, FOB security, forward operation-based security. Got to see some stuff that I didn't want to see and would not choose to see again.
Yeah.
I also got to see some amazing things, such as the Iraqi local nationals just living their day-to-day life, as I said, on different points.
And we were there together in 2005.
2005, we were there.
No, oh, God. Oh, shit. I'm sorry, D. Let me explain. D and I have been best friends for about 14 years, or 12 years, right?
Long time.
Yeah, long time. I met him in Germany when our first sergeant decided to make me a platoon sergeant instead of him. And he had been promotable longer than I had been.
Such is life.
But D and I have been friends for 12 years. So I get confused, right? 2005 to me doesn't seem like it was goddamn near 20 years ago. So in 2008 when I met D, or 2012 when I met D, it was like, okay.
Yeah, Iraq was a different kind of experience. Getting to see the two sides of war, the peacefulness of the local nationals as well as the ugliness of the local nationals. Sitting on different points and being able to watch movies or whatever, and sitting on different points and getting to watch and or hear small arms fire, not to mention mortar rounds coming in, whatever the case may be. So I remember one day in particular, one first sergeant's going out. I says, "Hey, Doc, when are you coming back?" He says, "I'm not coming back." And from that day forward, I was real cognizant of the words that I allowed people to use when they came through my checkpoint, because in fact, he did not come back. So today is for him, as well as many others.
Yeah, that's really hard.
It is.
Lizzie says you guys are all heroes. I wish I could stay, but it's dinner time, so she must be in the UK. Yeah.
Well, Miss Lizzie, enjoy your supper.
Fair enough. But yeah, have a good night, Lizzie. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Oh God, losing people. That's what today is all about. Is absent companions. When I say absent companions, I have to have the drink in my hand. So those of you out there in the chat, those of you on the panel, if you're drinking water, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. But to absent companions.
Well, it's part of the Army motto, isn't it? Drink water, drive on.
Drink water.
Beat the heat!
Absolutely.
All right. Ronan Medic.
Yes.
Let's hear your story, man.
Well. Sorry, I almost used the wrong bottle. I graduated high school in '94 and tried college, and college wasn't for me. And was talking to an advisor. He said, "I think we can get you out of here in about 3 years." And I said, "Well, I can get me out of here in 5 minutes. Watch this." And joined the Marine Corps in 1998. Yeah, I went to Paris Island. I was 0311.
Oh well, there's your problem. You're a flatland Marine.
Well, I took the moral high ground, same as my grandfather. But yeah, they broke me in 2000 and didn't want to pay for me to heal, so I got a medical discharge and went to paramedic school.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. 18 years of service, and they broke me, and that's it. I've got VA disability.
Well, I mean, you'll be getting a much nicer check than my 3 years.
Oh, well, my ex-wife spent most of that.
I was lucky enough to avoid that.
Sorry, go ahead, medic.
I started working on an ambulance in January of 2002 and spent the next 3 years trying to get back into the Marine Corps, and they just wouldn't let me. So why are we going to pay an E5 all this money when we got E1s coming here for nothing, and they ain't broke? And when I'm finally said, "Have you thought about contracting?" I said, "What's contracting?" He showed me some websites. I put in an application for the company that shall not be named, and
Did I hire you? All right, hold on just 1 second. I need to welcome Jesse to the panel. However, we are actually talking to Ronan right now, so please just allow us to finish talking to Ronan. We'll get around to you. All right? Right on, Jesse.
got
here.
All right. But
Well, I mean,
welcome,
that's
Jesse, to the
the-
panel.
yeah, that's the end of my work history that I can tell, because
Fair
yeah,
enough. Yeah, going to work for the black services, you just gotta go. Okay, I work for the black services.
Yeah. But at the time, 06, 07, they were getting ready for the push, and I had been an infantryman and I was a paramedic. And they said, "Oh shit, how much money you want? Can you get up on a plane next week?" And I said, "Yep," and that was it.
Right on, right on. All right, Professor, what do you got for us? And this is Corporal Moody, although he was a sergeant, but he refuses to say that he was a sergeant. So, Corporal Moody, what do you got for us?
So I joined the Army in 06, 17 years old. Whenever I joined, I was actually supposed to be National Guard all the way through, but decided to run active for a few years. And I turned 18 in Afghanistan. I got out of basic training and went to my AIT. I was a mechanic, and they go, "Hey, the Airborne's looking for a mechanic." And I said, "Cool, I'll go with the Airborne." About 3 months after that, I was in Afghanistan. It was rough. It was really rough
Yeah,
over there.
yeah. No, I totally get that. So,
We got chewed up and spit out on a daily basis. At that point in time, as far as I know, the news wasn't really covering a whole lot of what was going on over in Afghanistan.
the news is never going to cover what we went through. No, the news is never going to cover that.
I was in the push to retake Kandahar, and it was rough. They said I was 17. I thought I was the biggest, toughest person that I ever met in my life, and I was wrong. That was sure.
Right on, Shay. Right on.
After that, we came back and they put me up at Fort Drum.
Oh, Fort Drum, New York. Southern Canada.
Yeah, good time. They're all like, "All right, you're actually going to be a mechanic this time." And I'm like, "Okay." And they throw me in, and I was supposed to be with the engineers, 10th Mountain. And I ended up working for, more or less, SNCTC, which is Counterterror Operations for Homeland Security, et cetera, et cetera. They have everything from your homeland counterterrorism to overseas counterterrorism. And so that was the start of my Special Forces career, and I did that for 2 years. I did 2 more deployments in Afghanistan, among other places, which I can't talk about.
Wait, were you attached to this unit in 2008 and 9
Yes.
in northern Afghanistan?
Yes. Post 2011.
Hey neighbor, how you doing?
Not too bad. How you doing, brother?
I was across the Wadi.
I love it. Love it. After
right
that,
on.
after I did
Hey,
my tour,
Lucifer.
I came back, got with the guard.
I'm sorry, Shay.
Oh, go ahead.
Just hold on 1 second. Lucifer is not actually the devil, although sometimes we wonder. By the way, has everyone shared and liked the stream so far? Also, will someone do the Discord for me, please? Because I forgot to do the Discord. It's been so long since I've been live streaming that I just totally forgot. I totally forgot to do the Discord advertising. So I apologize for that, everybody. But seriously, Lucifer is a good guy. He's not nearly as funny as Kronos, but you know.
I was thinking what your friend here said. It's like, I don't know if they're covering the Afghan news back home. I'm like, the hell they aren't. I was in during 06. I know all about the fact that you had all those briefings we had to go to, all those classified. I'm like, I'd watch the news like, you don't know shit.
Thank you, Eastland Burkholder. Thank you very much. That is fantastic. Thank you.
Also, Eastland Wadi is a dry riverbed, and there were
yeah. They call them arroyos in Arizona.
Yeah, there were three installations in this wadi in northern Afghanistan. One was German, one was me, and the other was 10th Mountain.
You guys see the badge on my uniform, right? The 3rd Infantry badge?
Rock of the Marne.
Rock of the Marne, right? But that was the 2003 invasion of Iraq. And so I do have a 10th Infantry combat badge that I can wear anytime I want to. It's just that 3rd Infantry was my first. 3rd Infantry was my very first duty assignment, so I went with 3rd Infantry on my uniform. Sorry about that, everybody out there who's not 3rd Infantry. But I have to admit, you suck. Because 3rd Infantry rocks.
But after all that, I'll just get back to this real quick and finish it up, wrap it up real fast. After that, they gave me the option of staying active duty. I declined and decided to come back to glorious Arizona and the Camp Navajo with both 22 20th and the 1404 Trans, and hated every minute of my experience in the Guard. Every minute of it.
Now, FYI, everyone, Camp Navajo is across the street, or across the interstate, I should say, right? Because I-40 goes through between Camp Navajo and a truck stop. It turns out to be a Love truck stop now. When I worked there, it was independent, and it was Texaco, but...
Oh, God, when was the last time you saw one of those?
Well, I have to be honest with you, it was about 25 years ago.
You're old.
But yeah, I-40 goes right through Camp Navajo and the truck stop that I worked at the time. Well, not at the time, because I was active duty when the professor was active duty.
And then I missed my 4th deployment. They were going to deploy, but they decided that I was too broke. And I had to stay with rear detachment, which if you ever get a chance to do that, don't do that. Deployment is much better. Rear det sucks. It's super boring.
I have to admit, I often contemplated what rear detachment would be like.
And
And
hurry
then
up and wait, but never do anything.
and then I talked to my friend who actually happened to be, he was a staff sergeant at the time. He happened to be the rear detachment commander. And he was like, "Oh, you do never want to do rear detachment. Never, ever do rear detachment."
You are bored out of your damn mind.
So many turn downs. So many. But then
you're not even
after
doing your
that-
job. That's the shitty part.
Yeah, you're just kind of sitting around doing nothing.
So your equipment's downrange.
Oh Lord, right? But after that, 6 years came up and they said, "Hey, you're too broke to continue, so bye." And that was that. That was my extent of my military career, and I should have stayed active service. But on this
may
whole
not
Memorial
have-
Day thing.
Yeah, it may not have actually helped if you had stayed active duty, because I did. I was active duty the entire time, and it didn't go well for me.
So on this
Medical
whole Memorial
separation
Day thing,
instead of medical retirement.
out of the 30 guys that I was with on my special forces deployment, I'm the only one left now. As of Friday night, I'm the only one left.
And that's what we're going to talk about in a few minutes. We are, honestly. I don't want to tell you, Shay, to just shut up, but
I know.
you know,
I got you.
we are going to talk about those that we lost, because that is what Memorial Day is all about.
Right.
Positive Candor. Would you like to tell your story?
I mean, I'll tell a little bit of it, I guess, obviously.
Well, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I was fortunately lucky enough to make it my whole 20 years somehow in the Navy. But yeah, towards the end, I was pretty much broke too from all the places I'd been to and stuff like that. But, you know, luckily I was far enough along that they let me retire at least at the end of 20, and you know, and then worked for the VA primarily after that.
Oh, right on. And for those of you who don't know, out in the chat, out listening to this, the Veterans Affairs takes care of veterans. So the VA stands for Veterans Affairs.
That's correct.
So yeah, I've seen kind of both sides of, I guess, the counter per se, of both, you know, being active duty and then you know, helping veterans basically.
Oh, right on, right on.
So I mean, that's just short and sweet of it, basically.
Well, yeah, sometimes you got to go short and sweet. Yeah, and that's okay. No problem. Thank you, Runs with Phantoms. Yes, have a blessed Memorial Day. I think is better than saying thank you, veteran. Have a blessed Memorial Day.
Do not thank me on Memorial Day at all. It's a good way to get punched in the mouth. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, it used to bother me, but I found a way to turn that discomfort and embarrassment around, and I would just say, you know what, you were worth it.
Yeah, you are worth it. Yeah.
But that turns the embarrassment and pain back around on them, because what do they say to come back to that?
It's true.
You can't really say anything to come back to. I did it for you. That's all it was. I did it for you.
There's a
All right,
saying.
Tech Sergeant Jesse Reed.
Hey, buddy.
Let's
Well-
hear your story, man.
Well, I joined in 1998 in the Marine Corps. Went to San Diego. Went to field radio operator school. I was a radio operator, battery operated grunt, or the guy who's going to get shot before the lieutenant. Take your pick. Take your pick on which one you wanted.
Well,
I got,
you got to decide whether the lieutenant is facing north or not.
one of my personal favorites was he was arguing with one of our lance corporals, and our lance corporal, "Don't make me salute you out here, sir." Because you know what that means.
Yeah, sniper check.
So I got transferred after I finished Frock School. I went to not MCR. I went to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Headquarters Company 6th Marine Regiment, where I had my first of many over the last 22 years of back pain and spasms and all kinds of fun shit.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have my wisdom teeth taken out without being asleep, so I got to hear all the nice crunching and everything.
Oh, that is
That's a
always
fun
fun, especially when the dentist actually gets up on the chair and puts his knee on the device in order to get the tooth out. Yes, it is fun.
They took mine out on Paris Island. Why'd you get to wait? How'd you get to wait?
Mine didn't come in. Mine didn't come in until around. Mine didn't start coming in until I was 19, and actually they weren't coming in. It wasn't coming in that much, so I could have waited, but I wanted to get it done because we were going to go on a 2-month. We were going on 2-month CACs over in 29 Palms. So I was like, let me just get this damn thing done now.
Yeah,
And so I got it done. In retrospect, maybe I should have waited. I don't know how bad it was going to hurt. I remember telling my sergeant, Trevig, and I was like, they want to pull my wisdom teeth out. He's like, you're still deploying in 2 weeks. I'm like, I know. He's like, you're not getting out of it. I was like, I got it. I did my 3.5 years in fleet, 4 years total, got out. Was going through
Hold on, just 1 second, NB.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
Thank you, Nina Green. Have a great Memorial Day. Well, thank you for the sentiment, but honestly, Memorial Day is about those that we don't get ever to see again. So
I see them all the time. It's just not in the way I want to see them, you know?
Yeah, well, all right, Professor, shut the hell up. No, I totally understand. I don't have nightmares, but I know a lot of people do. So it's cool. And we will talk about that in a few minutes. But let's get NB Geek's story out of the way. Here we go.
So I was going through a separation, ended up getting back together with my now ex-wife. A month after I got out of the Marine Corps, when my DD-214 came, I had applied to go to the Air Force. I filled out the paperwork and everything, and I was going through that process because that was my original intention. My January rolled around, my MOS got stop lost, and I was actually flat out expecting to get recalled because I still had that inactive status. I still had that 4 years inactive.
Right.
Status.
Yeah. You should have been recalled. Yes.
So surprisingly, I did not get recalled. I did join the Air Force. I became a computer specialist, mostly working in security, networking, and repairs. I also became very good at teaching. I used to teach CPR, SABC to the entire group. I was the instructor. I was one of the best inventories you could have had because every time my inspections came up, I had every piece of equipment. You couldn't find it. I was at Beale Air Force Base, California for 7+ years. Every time I tried to go on a deployment, every time I tried to go on a TDY, every time I tried to do something, I got hit with the same fucking excuse. We can't let you go. We can't let you go. You're too important. I'm like, fuck you. I eventually finally get ordered. I get divorced. I end up marrying my wife, who worked across the office from me. She is a 20-year veteran, too, of the Air Force. We're still married. And
Right
we went down to MacDill Air Force Base. I ended up working for the Defense Intelligence Agency for 3 years. I freaking loved it. Absolutely loved my job. Absolutely loved getting to hear all the intel I got to know. It was really nice. Then I went to South Carolina, where I spent my last 7 years and ended up in 3 different departments. One I absolutely hated. One I enjoyed, and the other one I was literally rode the entire year, but thankfully my master sergeant didn't give a shit.
And Eastland Burkholder brings up a very good point. Memorial Day should make us think of the widows and orphans who had to go forward without their soldier or Marine or... What do you guys call yourselves in the Air Force? Oh,
Airman.
Chair Force, right, yeah.
I generally just go with I'm still a Marine.
But yeah, and the squids, naturally.
Yeah, Chris, this was like so sad. The day I went to go get my blue card, my official blue card, my retirement card, we had an incident on the base. Young lieutenant pilot had some kind of error, made a pilot error, clipped his wing, ejected, the ejection seat failed. And he died.
Oh, God. That is terrible. That is terrible.
I thought getting my blue card would be one of the most exciting things, and I just couldn't bring myself to want to care. I was just basically giving my goddamn card.
I feel it.
Dude, I totally understand.
I'm like, I made it 20 years. This guy is dead after only about 3 years. He was a first lieutenant.
Right.
Had a young wife and a beautiful little baby.
Hey, just another red shirt. Thank you for being here.
And I couldn't bring myself to be happy about my blue card for quite a while.
I understand that. Okay, so we've gone around the panel. Here's my story. I joined in 1995. And I joined as a petroleum supply specialist. At that time, it was 77 Foxtrot. When did it turn to 92 Foxtrot? D, do you remember when it turned to 92 Foxtrot?
It was around 2002, 2003 officially.
Yeah, it had to have been 2002 or 2003. Yeah.
It was 2000 when they started playing around with the reorganization. Yeah.
Anyway, I joined in 95, and well, I don't know. Bosnia kicked off, right? Does anyone know what Bosnia was all about? Let me ask the question. Does anyone know what Bosnia was about? Why we went into Bosnia?
I know that I've met the Muslim leader of the rebels. He's a winner.
We went into Bosnia in order to stop the Christians from killing the Muslims. That's why we went into Bosnia. So that was my first deployment. My second deployment was breaching the berm in Iraq and going into Iraq and supporting the troops, chasing tanks, chasing Bradleys with a fuel truck. Jet fuel does not actually explode. You guys all know that, right?
All too well.
Hey, look, you gotta give him Hollywood, okay?
However, I was chasing tanks and Bradleys in my fuel truck in 2003. 2005, we set up a 3 million gallon fuel system, 50,000 gallon bags. So it was an enormous facility. It had to have been 2 acres of facility that we were working in. And then 2000, let's see, I did 98, 2003, 95, and 2011. Okay. So 2011, I deployed as a contract specialist. I became a contracting officer with the authority to write government contracts during that deployment. Now, we were all supposed to come home, right? Because Iraq is closed out. Sure. We all came home. I finished my entire year. Trust me, I finished my entire year. But yeah, so I've lived in the Middle East for a few years, and living in Phoenix feels like living in the Middle East a lot of times. Anyway, so that's my story. Is I do memoirs of a Pogue on my channel, or will start doing memoirs of a Pogue again. I've only done 2 of those stories. But yeah, so all right, let's go around the panel and talk about holy crap, it's 10:45. Well, anyway, let's go around the panel and talk about those who we miss now. D, you're up first.
One of the first soldiers I like to remember, because I remember his name. It was a PFC Crombie when we had just moved north from Kuwait, 2006, and he was brand new, fresh into the Army. He was a combat medic, and it was June 5th or 6th where he had gone out on mission, his first mission. And I got to know him pretty well while we were in Kuwait, and funny guy, great spirit. He actually has a book out called Love Nick, which I've read, and I couldn't bring myself to finish, but suffice it to say, I wake up in the morning and I go and gather around the CP, the command post, and there's a lot of somber faces. I'm like, what the world's going on? It says one of the medics who went out on mission and he died. And there's only 2 of them that I could think of who were best friends. They went through basic and AIT together. And short story long, on 6 June of 2006, Nick Crombie, that was the last day of existing on this plane. There was another medic when I was in Fort Carson, Colorado. And I'm remiss at not remembering his name. However, I know he was an amazing individual. Every time I saw him, smile on his face, jokester. I remember one time we were down in Fort Polk, and for whatever reason, he was doing acrobatics on a telephone pole, and I just from then forth called him a koala. We went through our deployment in 2011-12 in Afghanistan, and we come home, and a few months later, and they says, "Hey, did you hear about Specialist And just to fill in a name, Koala, I'm like, no, what do you mean? Well, they found him dead in his car. What do you mean found him dead? He's, yeah, heroin overdose. And I'm thinking, you're joking me, right? Uh, the guy always great spirits. So as far as the soldiers who fall aren't always on the combat zone
Right.
physically, however, mentally, there are times it's hard for them to leave, especially those who actually see the muck. They may not be the trigger pullers, but whether you're a father, as it's called, or a medic, the people who go out in support of our country and our brothers and sisters in arms, they come back but they never actually leave the combat zone. So those wounds, just because you see a veteran in a wheelchair or walking on crutches, it doesn't mean that those of us who come back aren't missing our limbs and our men or
Right.
on our persons, our mental faculties are invisible wounds, and I think a lot of times we forget. And then there are those who say, "Why don't you be like Chesty Puller, or why don't you be like Audie Murphy?" But they had their own mental wounds as well.
Exactly.
It's,
Yeah.
Chesty Puller's son committed suicide after Vietnam.
Exactly. So the whole adage that we have in the Army of "suck it up and drive on," yeah, we suck it up and we drive on, but some of them they crash real hard.
And that is why I have the Veterans Crisis Line as the banner for this stream. The Veterans Crisis Line. They may not be able to help you directly, but they will help you.
Also,
Yeah,
use
we'll
your
carry
VA
on.
benefit.
We'll carry on with the stories though, because I want to come back around to my story after everybody's told theirs. D, you got more to talk about?
That's all I can talk about at this time. I mean, I have my own battles and struggles, but I'm still here.
Okay. All right. Ronan?
Yes.
I know it's tough. You don't have to talk if you don't want to.
The one that hit me the most and that I still deal with, I guess, and the one that I have to carry with me because I call his son on his son's birthday every year. We called him Dirty. He was actually because he looked Mexican, but he's Portuguese. Last name Goncalves. He and I were. I'd gone up to the ECP to check on my guys, and I got there right as a guy drove up with the flop sweat, and everybody saw it coming, but there was nothing we could do to stop it anyway. He had some shrapnel ripped through his gut and took off his right leg, and 30 minutes before that, he and I had been on a video chat with his son, telling his son he only had 36 hours left. He's going to be on a plane. He's going to be home for his 12th birthday, the first birthday he'd been home for.
Oh, God.
In 10
I hate
years.
those stories. I hate those stories so much.
And he died with my hands inside him, talking to me like I was his son. See, that's the one that
Yeah, that hurts.
I take with me.
Yeah, that hurts, man. That hurts. But you remember him, and that's what that is what today is all about. You remember him, and you've been remembering him twice a year for how many years?
13.
It's tough, I know, but that is what today is all about, is remembering those we've lost. You got any more stories, medic?
Um,
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I mean, there's. No.
Yeah, none of us are okay. I get that.
No, I meant.
None of us are okay. I understand.
No, there's no other story. They only get worse from there.
I
Yeah.
feel you.
Would you like to say anything else, medic?
I will quote General Patton. It's wrong and a little foolish to mourn the men that died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived.
I'm into that.
Yep.
Amen.
Yep. All right. Corporal Shea. Or Corporal Moody. Sorry.
Either way, it don't matter to me, man. You can call me whatever you want. I've been called a lot worse.
So
Well,
long
you
as
are
I
kind
know
of an asshole.
my the one that hits me the worst and the one that I have the hardest time dealing with is Mikey Tomlin, private, and he just got over there, and he was showing me a picture of his brand new baby, and we came under small arms fire, and he freaked out, and we had him stay in the Humvees, one of my, and yeah, I'm fucking, it's like slow motion. I can see it. And I still see it every day. Every day. We had battle locked the Humvee when we were returning fire. That fucking RPG nailed that fucking top hatch.
Oh, God.
And they had to pull me away from the Humvee. I was trying to get into it. It was on fire. It was fucking nothing left, pretty much. And I kept telling everybody that, no, he's alive, he's still screaming. And they're all like, the only one screaming is you.
Yeah.
He was 17 years old. He's joined up so he could take care of his family. And all I could keep thinking is I signed up whenever I was 17 and I should have taken better care of him. But that's the one that gets me the worst.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I lost
the
a
one
lot of
you-
people overseas. We all did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whenever we came home, like I said before, I'm the last one of the 30 that I deployed with. The last one as of Friday. We lost most of us to suicide. And the only thing that I can really figure on that is the only thing that I can figure is that once you deploy and you do things and you see things and you don't
Yeah.
feel like you belong with the people here, I guess, with good people.
With normal society.
You start feeling like you don't belong anymore, and
It is. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, that's my story.
Positive candor, do you want to interject?
No, I don't really have anything.
Yeah, that's a tough story to follow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Jesse, you got something?
I got a few. Nothing personal like as personal as some of these. As I've stated, I never served in combat. I didn't deploy over in those areas. I've never figured out how that happened, but it's the way my career ended up going out. And there's not days where I don't feel guilty about that. I have times where I feel bad about it. Like, why, I had no problem going and I
Yeah.
was ready to do my part. And it always seemed like it was never happening. And there's a part of me that feels guilty because I've seen what happens to a lot of them, my wife included. My wife coming back from Afghanistan, she was different. She's still different.
Yeah.
Trying
Trying to come to grips with that difference is what ended my marriage. So, congratulations to you, Jesse. Seriously, if you're able to come back up.
Sorry about that. My computer froze up for a second.
Yeah, were you able to hear me?
Nah, I'm sorry. The last thing I heard was your marriage ending.
Oh, yeah. No, my marriage ended over my second deployment. Now, mind you, I often say that my marriage ended afterwards, but I came back different. So I totally understand. And congratulations to you for staying married to someone who has those issues.
Well, my first experience, I shit you not, my very first day in Fleet Marine Corps, Camp Lejeune, I'm in the middle of going through starting my in processing. All of a sudden, everybody's freaking out. Things are going crazy. And it turned out one of the lance corporals did not make it to muster. He was found dead. He had committed suicide with his wet belt over his rack.
Yeah.
It was my very first day in Fleet. And I get to my unit and I get to know some of these people there. And they knew this person. This person was actually part of our unit. And he was a good guy, great guy. For years, I heard nothing but good things about this guy.
Right.
And nobody saw this coming. Nobody had a clue. Everybody said they couldn't see a red flag. They couldn't find it. Everybody was trying to think. And then, of course,
there's not always a red flag.
Yeah, he didn't leave a note. They did the investigation, claiming but they did investigate to make sure it was a suicide. We had another guy. I'm not going to mention his name, but he was a corporal. He was one of the best damn corporals I ever knew. I really loved the guy. Turns out he had a cocaine problem, and he was. Yeah. We got hit with a piss test, and in the Marine Corps, everybody in that unit's piss testing. He took the piss test.
100% piss tests. Yeah, I've been there.
Knew he was going to pop positive. Went AWOL, or actually went UA, and then officially became AWOL after the 30-day mark. Turns out one of the reasons they couldn't find him was because he ended up ODing himself on some cocaine. And another time in that unit, we had an exercise out in LZ Penguin, LZ Falcon. They indexed early because a mortar struck one of our Marines because the poor guy got lost. And he ended up in the kill zone.
Oh, God.
So,
yeah. Well, I mean,
that was my first 2 years. Those all happened within my first 2 years.
Minus positive candor, right? You guys all pretty much joined after September 11th or during September 11th.
No, I was before. I was out before September 11th happened.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize that, Ronan. I really do.
I'm square in the middle of the middle-aged white male category.
But when we come back, we are different. When we come back.
Hey, Chris, I can tell you exactly what I was doing on 9/11. We were landing our C-130 in Reno for mountain warfare training when the first tower was hit. I was on my third year of my 4 years.
It is amazing what we go through. Oh, okay. So here is my story. Have you ever heard of someone committing suicide by bar fight?
I think so.
I've tried. I'm still here.
I know you've tried, Shay. I know you've tried. But this guy actually managed to commit suicide by bar fight. Now, all 4 of my deployments, I've come back with my company complete, battalion complete, whatever the case may be. We didn't lose anyone overseas. All 4 of my deployments, we didn't lose anyone overseas. What we lost people to are suicide by cop, suicide by hanging yourself in the barracks, suicide by bar fight. That is where we lost most of our people. So let me ask you, how that's not fair. All right. God.
It is a fair question.
We weren't getting help. I mean,
I had
fucking truth.
I had to call the Veterans Crisis Line last year. Mr. CCDV, I had to call the Veterans Crisis Line last year. That's how desperate I was. I was so desperate.
When I left the Marine Corps for TAP, and I took TAP, they didn't mention hardly jack shit about any veterans benefits or anything like that. 16 years later, when I went through TAP again, it's a whole different ballgame now. They are telling you, go to the VA, go get your disability, go look at your benefits. You are entitled to this stuff. You have it available to you. Use it. We're losing too many of our brothers and sisters who make it back, but then just can't make it.
They can't make it when they get back. You're absolutely right. Jesse, you're absolutely right. They just can't make it when they get back.
But
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to turn into this, but
it's okay, man.
It is Memorial Day.
There's nothing wrong about shedding tears, man. There's nothing wrong with it.
Not a damn thing.
And I'll hit
Absent companions.
So.
Absent companions.
Hey, I went to 21 days of rehab while in the military because they stuck me in the ADAP program because I was going through so much trauma that I could drink. Literally, I'd get home 30 minutes before my wife would get home, and I'd be 6 double shots in by that point. I was so messed up, so in denial, and nobody could tell at work. I could hide it perfectly. I
Right.
didn't mean to, but I freaking did, because there was this stigma, and it's still there. They're working on it. There's this stigma. If you go in for mental health, you're going to lose a clearance. It's going to look bad on your career. No,
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now.
That is
if you're
not
actually
true.
doing that, you go
I
get that help.
kept my secret clearance all the way throughout my counseling sessions in the Army. Yes. I know it is the image of the stigma, right? Like you go in for counseling and there's something wrong with you. Well, guess what, motherfucker? There's nothing wrong with me other than what you put me through.
One other thing too is, and this was a problem for me and my wife, when you go see a military counselor and stuff, here's where one problem lies. Usually your commander and your first sergeant know about it, and probably so does your boss. So 3 people you really didn't want to know that you're going in for this stuff now know. And then, of course, what do? They butt into your business when it should be left to the professionals.
18 years and 3 months. 18 years and 3 months. What does that mean to you guys on the panel? 18 years, 3 months. What does that mean
That
to you?
means you got medically separated at 18 years, 3 months of service.
Fucking right I did. And why? Why did I get separated at 18 years and 3 months? I never had a bad counseling statement. I never had Article 15. Somebody was echoing, yeah. I never had an Article 15. I had 2 counseling statements in 18 years and 3 months of service. I had 2 bad counseling statements.
I had 2 in my first 6 months when I got.
Amen to that.
I was like a page 11 guru back in the Corps.
But that ended my career. That ended my career. Not going to counseling. No, I'm sorry. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, God.
Yeah,
That sounded so terrible, didn't it? Oh,
Counseling
we were
didn't
just
end
talking
it.
about going to counseling.
It's different on the outside, though. You got to
It is.
remember, it's different on the outside. It's okay. Think about this. How many times were you 100% honest with the doctor and the military?
You don't tell
How
the
many times were
doctors
you
anything.
ever
about
100% honest with them?
Honestly, only during my medical board.
Because there were stigmas that could get back to your leadership.
That's right.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and my chain of command was going through a change of command at the time. So, if Lieutenant Colonel, I'm not going to say his name, but if Lieutenant Colonel were still in charge of the office that I was working in at that time, would he have signed the paperwork to let me finish my career? It was only a year and a half, right? It was only a year and a half.
They could have put you in an administrative position.
But the new commander who took over the post said, I have no idea who you are, and did not sign the paperwork.
By the way, Shay, Chris does have 100% total disability from the veterans.
Oh, I know.
Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. He lives right down the road. I go over to his
Yeah.
house. I'm gonna go over to his house and get completely freaking snockered whenever I'm done with this, man.
Oh, we are going to be totally wasted at the end of today. Yeah.
And the best part about that VA, tax free.
It is actually, yeah. However, I would
I-
still like to have my
VA.
retirement
I
plus my
understand that.
VA disability.
I got them horror stories from the VA. I've been fighting with the VA since I got out. Because unlike Mr. CCDV over here, they decided to go, yeah, we'll let you do that.
Hold on, just 1 second, Shay. Bro, today is like literally the manliest fucking day to cry. Let it out, man. The pain is an affirmation of life. And one's humanity. And your humanity is how you know you're much more of an implement of war. Thank you, Runs with Phantoms. That is fantastic.
Yeah, see, I got the shaft on that one. They decided to go, yeah, we'll let you finish up, but you can't re-up. And at that point in time, I got so angry, I was all like, fine, you know what? Fuck everything. I don't care anymore. Let me finish it up. I'm out of here. Now I'm regretting that because I'm fighting with the VA over everything.
Right.
It's a good time. Good time.
Oh yeah. Playing with the VA is a lot of fun. Whee!
I got my first VA appointment, my initial VA appointment coming up Wednesday. So we'll see how this works out. Hey, but at least I don't
My
have
favorite one was whenever I first got out and everything, and they sent me to counseling. That fucking psychiatrist goes, "Hey, you don't have PTSD," and I'm all like, "No." And they're all like, "Yeah, you don't have PTSD. You're perfectly fine. Cool."
Yeah. The very first sociologist I went to said the same thing. You don't have PTSD. You have social adjustment anxiety or something like that. What is that called, by the way?
bullshit.
It is called bullshit. But yeah, that's what I was diagnosed with social anxiety something or other. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then like 3 months later I went in to be evaluated by a VA psychiatrist, and they actually diagnosed me with PTSD. So yes, the VA is difficult to work with. However, the VA is also a good organization provided you get to the right VA clinic.
Yes.
And thankfully, the prior administration did put some new stuff in place that has made the VA run better. Because I know the horror stories my brother-in-law Chuck has had to deal with the VA.
Well, I'm sorry, NB Geek. You know I've been clean for 6 years. Not sober, but clean. And the reason I've been clean for 6 years is because the VA took away my good stuff. So I'm not really happy with the VA right now. I'm really not. However, I was a teetotaler, right? I was a teetotaler. You know what that means, right?
Absolutely.
No, that's
it means
what
I never drank. I never drank. I mean, I drank once in a while. Like on a weekend, I'd drink a 6-pack, right? Today, this is my 4th cup of wine. 4th. Just today, my 4th cup of wine. Because that is the only way I could sit in this chair and talk to you guys.
It's a hard day. I mean, there's no way around it. Like I said, you have that young lieutenant the day I went to go get my blue card, and you know, his wife and baby. And you know, the worst part is, you know, the feelings here too is the moment those mechanics, those maintainers get the call, every one of them think the same thing. Did I fuck up? Did I screw something up? They're not concerned about necessarily saving their own ass. They're thinking, did I screw something up? And it turned out, no, it was not. It was nobody's fault. One part of pilot error, one part of mechanical failure, but it's not exactly like testing an ejection seat is a regular thing.
Right.
Yes, Kronos, the good stuff is opioids. Thank you, Runs with Phantoms. Yes,
they
the
sure
good
like to
stuff
give it
is
to us.
opioids. I have been clean for 6 years. I didn't even take my mom's morphine when she was dying, right? So, like, lift her out of the chair, or lift her out of the bed, put her in the chair, take her to the bathroom, lift her out of the chair, put her on the toilet, lift her off the toilet, put her back in the chair, and then yes, and I did not take the morphine while I was taking care of my mom. And yes, that is just fucking hard as hell. I sympathize with alcoholics who go to meetings. I sympathize with them.
Me too, poor bastards.
My uncle has been a meeting alcoholic for 30 years. And I go, oh, Uncle Richard, is it okay if I just, drink constantly? He goes, yeah, it's fine. He knows I'm not an alcoholic.
Alcoholics go to meetings, man. I prefer to think of myself as a professional drunk.
I am a professional drunk.
I haven't heard that one in a while.
Gentlemen, one of the things in commemoration of the day when you were talking, DJ, you were talking about those who go into their rooms and commit suicide. I don't remember if you were still with us or not with 214, but there was a cook who was deployed to Afghanistan and who had been having issues with mental health and is with his marriage and had been seeing a chaplain, had been seeing a counselor through the military. And I don't remember your name, brother, with the glasses on it. I can see your face and the challenges and the many doors that veterans have to go through, as well as active duty, in order to get to their final counselor. And
was that Private? Oh,
I want to say his name was Specialist Foley. We're on a training exercise.
Specialist Foley.
Yes, we're on a training exercise in Baumholder, Germany, in Mannheim, and the entirety of the training stopped. Nobody knew what was going on. The commander disappeared, the first sergeant disappeared, their drivers disappeared, and we're just waiting, trying to find out why have we stopped our training. This had been seeing a counselor, had been seeing a chaplain. The chaplain said, once he finally came up and gave us a briefing, that he had actually seen that soldier the day prior, and they found him hanging from the shower rung in his latrine.
Yeah.
So when we talk about our missing and fallen comrades, our absent companions, if you will, those battle wounds, they're real. They're real.
They are. They're.
I was just thinking about
so D,
every base
and those of you on the panel who were not here at the beginning, and those of you in the chat, D and I were in 214th Aviation in Germany, Mannheim, Germany. So I know who you're talking about, D, but yeah, you're absolutely right. You come back, you're different. You're different. So how do you be different and reintegrate to society? Well, hopefully there's plenty of psychologists who can help you, which is why I put Veterans Crisis Line on there. And my story last year, and D actually can, D'Angelo Bergen Staff Sergeant Delangelo Bergen. He's still active duty right now. He can verify this. I called him last year because I was depressed. I was seriously depressed, like super depressed. And I called him, texted him, messaged him, that kind of thing. And then, after I got off the phone with him, I called the Veterans Crisis Line because that was my last option. That was my last option.
Worst.
I was there last year. I was there last year. I would have taken my life if it had not been for the Veterans Crisis Line. I would have taken my life last year. So that's why I put the phone number up there. I'm sorry.
You're good,
You're
bro.
fine, man. You're fine.
You don't have nothing to be sorry for, man. None of that.
This is us. Hey, this is us. You know that.
I know, but admitting to my friends, admitting to my compatriots, admitting to the people in the chat.
Dude, that's a huge step.
Just
Dude, that's
admitting it.
Dude, that's nothing to be ashamed of. That's something to be proud of, that you could actually make yourself comfortable to say that, to let that out.
Even that word, admitting it, that's your pride fucking with you, man.
Yep, right there. That's it, right there, man. That's
I
that
mean,
pride.
look at this. Shit. There. I'm an
I think
expert
you're the only
marksman,
one in uniform.
right? I'm an
Mhm.
expert marksman. I'm an expert driver. I have 2 permanent awards. These are both permanent awards. I'm not just pretending. These actually belong to me. Right? And I've got fruit salad like crazy, right?
You want to know what else you're an expert at, DJ? You're an expert at being a friend and an expert at being alive. Keep doing that shit.
Hell yeah.
Amen.
Oh God, I was so close last year, though. You guys have no idea. I was so close last year.
Believe me, man. I got you on that. I got you. I feel you. I get there more times than I'd like to admit, my friend. So I understand. I got you.
But yeah, that's why I put the Veterans Crisis Line on here this year. This is only the second annual Veterans or Memorial Day stream. Second annual Memorial Day stream. Second annual Veterans Day stream comes up in November.
Hey, that one, that'll be twofold for me. Because you know what happens the day before Veterans Day, right?
We all get drunk.
Real holiday. The real holiday.
The Marine Corps birthday is November 10th.
Oh, November 10th! Holy crap! How could I not remember that?
You're not a Marine.
Yes, the Marine Corps birthday. You're welcome, by the way, for being the oldest service in America.
Yes, we were. Tons Tavern, man. You're going to recruit Marines? Do it at a bar. No, folks. Not a joke.
That's where I've
I
met
am
most
dead
of my friends.
serious.
DJ, if I may, I appreciate you having this panel. I appreciate what you're doing here to bring light on the invisible wounds that we carry back from our deployments, because a lot of times a lot of people see as the guts and glory of what we do, but they don't see how many of us who come back, we suffer in silence. And one of the most tremendous things that I feel that can come of this is if any soldier who's suffering in silence sees this, the stories that you've told, the stories that we've told, can be the story that very well saves their life. I
I
remember
hope so.
being
I do.
being in Maryland, the one thing that actually saved my life, aside from the joy that I have from seeing my wife and kids, was a battalion commander stood in front of 300 soldiers and recounted his story of how he almost took his own life some 20 years prior. And to that day, he still carried the round that he had planned on taking his life with.
Wow.
That was the day that I submitted my humility to go and seek help.
That is good. That is good, D. That is really good.
Sometimes we look at some of our superiors we've had, and then we find out they had some issues, and you're just like, you just were so strong, so gung ho. So
Yes.
and we were young, and at the time, a lot of us young and impressionable. We just
Every time it was like my first sergeant or my platoon sergeant or whatever the case may be, it was like, yes, you are the man. And then I became the platoon sergeant. I became the NCOIC, the non-commissioned officer in charge. And I was like, wow, this is what they all went through? Yep. Because I contacted my first sergeants and I contacted my NCOICs. And I said, this is what you went through? And they said, yes.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I was a tech sergeant. I remember when I became a tech sergeant and got plopped in front of a bunch of 18, 19-year-old airmen. I had 15 of them, 10 contractors, and no other NCO but me.
Sorry about that. Hold on just 1 second. Yes, JJ runs with Phantoms. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Here's the thing: is I live on disability, and it's the VA disability. I really do wish that Social Security would catch up. However, I can deal. But thank you. I am unmonetized, by the way. However, I don't worry about it because I really don't actually have to. So I really do appreciate that you wanted to tip me. But thank you, Runs with Phantoms. I really appreciate that. And JJ and Night Breeze, welcome. JJ and Night Breeze, you guys are fantastic.
I'm actually very fortunate. My wife and I both got our E6 retirement paychecks for 20 years. I got 80% disability. She got 100%. We've been talking about getting maybe part-time jobs to do something. And it kind of, I haven't really taken it seriously because it just kind of, we were talking about all this stuff. I'm thinking, I don't know if I can work in a civilian workforce. I don't know if I can acclimate to that. I really don't know.
Actually, surprisingly enough, it's actually easy if you get the right job.
The right job field, too. I've tried to go back twice, and every time I would interview at a civilian ambulance service, the first one, I walked in to do my practical and immediately raised my hands like I'm holding a weapon. Said, okay, we're going to establish a perimeter, secure the... Okay, so scene safe, PPEs, and I had to stop and restart. And I look over at the two people giving me the interview, and they just look horrified. Like, what was that? And the second time, actually, halfway through the interview, they stopped and said, we're not actually going to give you the job. We just wanted to meet someone whose resume looked like this. We're afraid you'll be too aggressive with your Facebook.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that. You're gonna be aggressive. Oh no.
I've actually had that response on Indeed and Monster.com where they went, "Oh, Sergeant First Class Army. Yeah, we really don't want you." Are you serious? I have management experience. I have technical experience, and yet you guys really don't want me because I was in the Army? Really? That's why you're rejecting my resume?
One of the things you see a lot of nowadays is you'll see a lot of people get out and then come back. It's what we call leave on Friday in uniform, come back on Monday in civvies. And they take up a contractor position in the same job they were just in. And my wife and I, we had talked about it. And a lot of these guys I found didn't make a lot of good plans for when they were going to retire. My wife and I talked for 2 years because I said, I don't want to come back and work again here for the military. I was like, I want to separate. And I mean, separate. Thank you. I did my time. Thank you for the paycheck. But I need to move on.
So, what's with the 20-year gap in work history?
Yeah, I actually had to put a header on my CV that says, "Yes, I know the gaps are there. This is why." Just so they would stop asking that. And the contractor thing, I actually know a couple, an airman, Air Force couple that live in Sicily now. They both have 100% disability, and they both work for DoD contractor, making about $300K a year, and they live in Sicily. And Trump made all that $300K each tax-free 4 years ago. So it's not that bad.
No, but I just didn't want to do it. I
completely understand, but from someone that did, it's not that bad.
No, I've known a lot of guys. We had a senior master sergeant, I'll never forget, great guy, LaFontaine. Here's why I love this guy. When my wife got moved out of her career field over to medical, she should have got a decoration. Turns out people slipped through the cracks while LaFontaine was deployed. He comes back. He is irate. He's like, you're going to get fucking decorations done or you're not going home. Period. End of discussion. Came personally to see me to say, tell your wife, I'm very sorry. We're working on her decoration. And she thought it was going to be an achievement medal. It was the one right above it. Now I'm drawing a fucking blank on what was above an achievement.
All right. NB, if you don't mind me interrupting.
Show.
My best friend in the world has to step off the show because he actually has to do work.
Work.
D'Angelo.
Yes, sir.
Are you willing to turn your camera on?
This is me.
There you go. All right, D'Angelo, what do you got going, man?
Right now, I'm an instructor up here in Sacramento, California, and I have students evals to write since they're graduating from their first phase of 25 Sierra, which is kind of ironic. DJ laughed at me yesterday profusely when I told him I went from being a 77/92 Fox to being a SATCOM operator.
I did laugh. I laughed my ass off.
I got a quick question for you. Is it still called Arco Arena?
I have not heard Arco Arena, so I'm going to go with no, Alex.
Okay. Did you say Sacramento?
Sacramento, yes.
Okay. Maybe they changed it since I've been gone. That was the place where I saw my first heavy metal concert.
Okay, you may what is it? The Golden One Stadium for the Sacramento Warriors or whatever they're called.
Yeah, whatever the basketball team.
Mm-hmm. Golden State Warriors. That's what they are. But I'm having to step off so I can go ahead and finish that, so I don't have to get one of those famous 4856s. Which is a counseling statement.
I have 4,856 ways of correcting your behavior.
Absolutely. But I do appreciate you inviting me to the panel. I appreciate the soldiers and Marines and airmen who have joined in. Most of all, for the audience or those who are in the chat who've taken the time to commemorate and honor those of us who have served, and even more so those who served and given their all.
You know, Dee, you need to tell the story about when we went to hazmat school.
Ooh, hazmat school. Did I meet you at your house, or did we meet at the unit?
We met at the unit, and you drove.
That is correct. And I'm driving. I think at that time I only had the BMW. And
You did, yeah. You didn't have the Mercedes at that point. Yeah, you had the BMW.
From Mannheim, Germany to Vilseck, Germany. Didn't know DJ, none whatsoever. Few encounters with him, and we go to this class that has a pretty high attrition rate. Nevertheless, I tell DJ, listen here, guy. One of two things is going to happen out of this trip. Either we're going to love each other or we're going to hate each other. Needless to say, here we are, close to 15 years later.
And he gets to grow a beard on active duty, and I don't get to grow a beard, and I'm retired.
Hey, it happens. But I've appreciated the journey immensely.
It has been fantastic, man. And one of the things about I actually got into this conversation about 3 days ago is how do you know you have a best friend? Well, you know you have a best friend when you can call him once every 6 months, and still it's like 14 years ago. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is when you know you have a best friend.
Yep. Wholehearted, man.
All right, D. Take it easy, man.
Absolutely,
Pleasure
brother.
meeting you, brother.
Same with
Angelo Bergen, everybody.
I'm actually going to get out of here too, Mr. CCDV, and I'll be over at your house here. In
Oh,
just
yeah,
a
I was
bit.
going to say, you're coming over to my house anyway, so
Yeah.
whatever.
When I
And
ended
the
up
professor is doing mythological creatures.
I am. I'm going to be starting up the channel Cryptic Mythos. We're going to be going through everything from actual monsters to the monsters who walk like right beside us, including serial killers and et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to be doing all kinds of stuff on that channel. So, but I'm out of here, guys. It was good to meet y'all, have a conversation. I guess we'll do this again next year.
Yeah, we will. Well, actually, we'll do it on the 4th of July.
But until then, stay safe, keep your heads up. Catch you guys later.
Right on. See you later, Shay. I mean, I see you in like 3 minutes, Shay.
I had once I got on Facebook, I ended up looking up a couple old buddy Marines of mine, and I swear I think I actually talk on Facebook at least once in a while with one of them, and I swear I think I've got half my old platoon. Half my damn platoon is on there. I mean, at least the guy is part of my radio. Most of the guys I talk with are the radio operators, the battery operated grunts like I was. and the wire dogs, because wire guys, and radio guys, we went hand in hand. Man, and I've been able to help a few of them out, man. One of my best friends, who we used to call Baby Huey, he was going through a rough spot. Him and his wife, who I knew his wife, he was married. His wife was also, her brother was a guy we worked with in our unit. He's another Marine of ours. And I knew her very well. I knew them when they started dating. I knew them when they got married. I knew their kids. I stayed over at his place a couple times. And he called me up one time, and I must say he had a very big problem. And he goes, and he went like this. He's like, Jess.
Hold on, just 1 second, and be geek. You are absolutely correct. Runs with Phantoms. That is a very bad time for typos. I can imagine I know what you're talking about, but yeah, that is just, it really is a lot funnier the way you did it. So it works for me. Go ahead, NB Geek. Sorry.
So my buddy Huey, he calls me on my phone, and he's like, "Hey man, you got time to talk? I got some bad shit going on." And I just, first words out, I was like, "What do you need, Mike?" I spent the next 2.5 hours talking with him over what was going on. He was having issues with his wife. There was a lot of bad shit that happened. She got arrested. There was a lot of legal shit going on. And I'm like, he's calling me because he knew I had gone through certain things similar to this. I'm like, all right, man, here's what I can tell you. Let me see what I can get these advice. I was like, hey, you call me tomorrow. I said, you call me tomorrow. You don't call me by a certain time. I'm calling you. And I'm going to keep calling you till you answer. And you know what?
Sometimes sometimes you got to go to their house.
Thing is, I haven't seen him I haven't physically seen him in 17 years. Doesn't fucking matter. He's my brother.
Exactly. He's your brother, and sometimes you got to go to the house.
If I
now,
needed to,
mind you, if you don't know where his house is.
No, I know exactly where he lives. If I needed to, I could have hopped on a plane from South Carolina all the way over to where he lived, and then just got a little rental car.
But it would have been worth the cost. Yeah. Absolutely.
Cost? I didn't give a shit about that. I didn't even think about it.
Oh, no. I never consider cost. If I had ever considered cost for people that I love, then I would not have lived in Phoenix for the last 6 years. Or not 6 years. Sorry, 6 months. Sorry. But yeah, if I ever considered cost, I certainly would not be living. Well, I'm back in my mountain home now, so I'm pretty happy, actually. But for 6 months, I was living in my brother's garage down in Phoenix, and my brother is a former Marine. Now, he never deployed, but he was an avionics mechanic. When he had his stroke, he lost damn near everything, right? So I get it, and that's why I was there for him. That's why I was there for my mom. You can't ever stop serving. I don't know if that makes sense to most of everybody out there. You can never stop serving. I served myself the very last of my wine. I'm sorry, NB Geek. What do you got to say?
Oh, nothing, buddy. I don't have anything to say. I was I was actually typing something with somebody real quick. I'm gonna have to bow out, buddy.
All right.
Appreciate you having
No
me
problem.
on.
Hold on just 1 second. I want to go with Medic first.
Yes. I'm about to have to. We're closing in on the end of hour 2 of the 1 hour live stream. I gotta head out.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I intended only to go for 1 hour.
It's worth it, man. It was fine. It's great.
Yeah. Lizzie, I trust me, I can drink a lot more than this. Anyway, go ahead, Medic, please.
What do you need?
Well, what do you got coming up? What's your channel? That kind of thing.
My channel is just making fun of other types of videos.
Okay.
I don't like reaction videos, so I make fun of them.
Well, fair enough.
I have a couple.
I don't blame you.
I did the show.
There are a lot of reaction videos to the bass singers these days.
The only challenge I've ever done would be that show me your steak. I got a video of that when me and my son went out in the woods and cooked, and a couple of me making some lettuce stuff. That's about all that happens on my channel.
Oh, right on. Well, that's pretty cool, actually.
As far as what's coming up, I just lost my job because I told Amazon to their face that their owner was a cult leader.
A meat tard? A meat tard?
A cult
Am I
leader,
allowed to
yeah.
say meat tard?
So yeah, that's about it right now.
Okay.
I do want
Right
to
on.
say though. I got cut off before, and I'll let other people go. But the word admitting, after you use it once, you need to stop using it, because that is just your pride fucking with you. And you need, after you've been able to say that, you need to move from a place of post-traumatic stress to post-traumatic growth. You need to.
You are absolutely correct.
You said it out loud. You need to take that next step.
Admitting that you have
mission,
the problem is one step closer to being able to fix that problem. So yes, absolutely, you're correct. Admitting is the first step to recovery. And
find that next mission, take that next step. Turn it into post.
God, I really do sound like an AA counselor, don't I? But yeah, admitting last year that I was not there was the first step to fixing every relationship in my life. Every relationship in my life. Because I've been divorced for 4 years. But last year is when I hit rock bottom and I just went, I can't do this anymore. And that's why I called the Veterans Crisis Line. And I've been in counseling for almost a year now. And it has absolutely changed my life. So yes, yeah. Medic, you Ronin Medic. Subscribe to Ronin Medic, everyone, please. But yeah, you're right. That is what I needed to do. I needed to admit that I needed help. And I couldn't do it prior to last year.
Indeed. And with that, I do have an appointment to get to this afternoon, so I gotta head out.
All right. Well, it was really great having you on the panel, Ronin Medic. It really was.
Well, thank you. It's nice to meet all of you.
Take care, Ronan.
Yeah, you as well. I'll be around. Y'all have a good rest of your day.
And also with that, bud, I'm gonna bow out.
Oh, you don't want to tell your story?
I think the worst story. Yeah, I'll end with this one. The worst one for me is every base I was on, somebody somebody died on base in some way, shape, or fashion,
Right.
or I knew someone who was tied to that person. Hardest one was her name was Tara. Called her HB for short because her last name was very long. And she was also like me. She was married to another Air Force person. He went over to Afghanistan and was in a relatively safe area. So a couple of him and airmen went out rock climbing in a pretty secure location. He ended up not feeling well, so he stayed with the Humvee, and they went up rock climbing. When they came back, they found him dead. He had some kind of heart attack, stroke. I never asked his wife what happened. All I know is my wife was honor guard at that time, so she was the one doing the funeral. And they asked my wife if she wanted to present the flag. My wife said, "There's no way in hell I can do that."
Oh no, I totally understand. I was on honor guard for a while myself, so I totally get that. I totally get that.
So that that's pretty much it. I got more, but that's the one that really stings with me the most. Yeah, that's the real hard one.
That's cool.
I had no idea how to talk to her when she got back.
The one that sticks with me the most is suicide by bar fight. I go to my bar and sing karaoke, and I tell people to not be that guy at the bar, right? And so I tell people not to be that guy at the bar. But my friend, and this is a really funny story because in 2003, we got to camp. Oh, well, wherever it was. Anyway, my memory is shot. Anyway, we got there and we set up the cots, and he said, "That's my cot." I went, are you fucking kidding me? That's your cot? Really? You put your name on a cot? And I grabbed my Gerber and I threw out the blade on my Gerber and I just went rip all the way down the cot. I just destroyed it. It's like, okay, here's your cot.
Oh, good Lord. All right, man. Hey, you take care. Everybody, Semper Fi, fair winds and following seas. And with that, I'll talk to you all later.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Sorry about that, everybody. I keep doing that. I keep forgetting to end broadcast. Sorry about that. Okay. Broadcast ending now.